Hello, everybody out there in internet land, in truck land, in Ford land. You're joining us here on Motor1.com on YouTube. You can also catch us Motor1.com on Facebook, Motor1.com on Twitter, and technically we're Motor1, just Motor1 on YouTube. Wherever you're at, welcome. You can join us wherever you're at. You can comment live, interact with us as we go through this crazy, crazy thing of the 2024 Ford F-150 debut. I am Christopher Smith, Motor1.com's U.S. news editor. We are joined here by Motor1.com writer and podcast extraordinaire, my co-host at Rambling About Cars, Chris Bruce, and Motor1 head honcho, editor-in-chief, Seth Mearsma. Gentlemen, we are just a little ways away from the debut of the updated 2024 Ford F-150. Thanks for joining, and thanks for everybody listening out there. Charles L., we better be getting more
power.
Yes, as you comment out there, we see it. It comes into our little headquarters right here, our digital headquarters. So we love seeing the comments. We love seeing where everybody's at. Kevin Hawthorne, good evening from Lakeland, Florida. Blizzard 0711 Detroit. There's no blizzard in Detroit. It's
Not
still
yet.
Right.
A few months away.
Well, guys, I've been kind of talking. You're monopolizing the mic. Yeah, go ahead.
Well, let's talk about what we're doing. Why don't we talk about what we're doing
let's do that.
right now before we answer blooper reel 2011's question. I mean, I can hop in. You guys have done this a couple of times before. In years past, we always talked about it being a great idea. And so we're going to do it more frequently, right? We think it's great. We know that people who are coming to Motor1 to the website love watching live streams, right? Like you guys see it. I see it, obviously. When we have live stream debuts of big new vehicles, our traffic always kind of like spikes, right? It's great. So we thought we like talking about cars. We like talking to all of you. We love showing live streams. So why don't we do a little bit of a pregame, chat a little bit about what we know is coming, in this case with F-150, which is a huge deal always. And then sit back, watch the live stream with all of you, and then come back and sort of talk about, give you some instant feedback about what we're seeing, what maybe we saw but wasn't talked about, maybe a little bit of analysis. Hopefully at that point, we'll be able to deep dive into some facts that we maybe know a little bit ahead of time, but aren't quite allowed to disclose just yet, and things like that, right? So we think it's gonna be really fun. As Smith was saying, like we would love to have you guys interact, ask us questions, bother us about things, like to the point that Bruce was just about to answer. Is this a new F-150 or a updated one, a mid-cycle refresh?
Well, and let's answer some of the questions here right now. So yeah, Bruce, I jumped on you here. Go ahead, answer some of these questions here.
Nope. So blooper reel 2011 asks, I'm confused. Is this a mid-cycle refresh or a new generation of the F-150? This is a mid-cycle refresh.
Yes.
So we know that some updates are coming. We will be sharing some photos here in a second once I get caught up with all of your comments, because I'm the guy with the photos. But we kind of know what the exterior looks like right now because we've seen a lot of spy shots of it. We know far less until the debut happens of what the interior looks like, the powertrain changes, stuff like that. But this will be, I can tell you, a mid-cycle refresh.
A mid-cycle refresh. And OTC asks, when will we get to see the new F-150? That's going to be in about 25 minutes. Ford's official debut, their live stream starts at 8 o'clock, and we are going to carry it right here. You don't need to go anywhere. Yep. You can stick right with us. When their live stream starts, we're going to just pump it right into our feed. We're all going to watch it together. We're all going to get to see the debut together. And then once Ford's live stream is over, we will be right back here chatting about what we saw. And as Seth said, we'll maybe take a little bit of a deeper dive in some of the areas. There's certainly much to talk about, and we're super happy to have everybody on board. So now is your chance to pump out some questions as we see things happening. Right now, Mr. Bruce has shared some of these spy photos. And guys, do you recall a time when we saw so many spy photos of a vehicle, of a pre-production vehicle that hasn't been revealed yet, totally uncovered in public? Because I think we saw just about every F-150 trim out there running around Detroit without any camouflage.
We saw a lot of them. I can tell you that.
Yeah, it's kind of amazing, you guys, as we were prepping for this podcast, because obviously I saw the post that we ran that we're looking at the gallery of right now. We can drop the link in chat here in just a second too, if you guys want to take a look at this. But you're right. Like usually we've got, even if it is a more significant update or mid-cycle refresh or facelift, sometimes we like to call it, we see a little bit of camo. Maybe we see something like on the wheel. We see some stickers on the graphics that are covering the lighting elements. And things like that. And in this case, we're not really, we got to be honest, like we are going to be passengers along with all of you as this debut happens. But unless Ford was getting very, very clever about how they were hiding things, or, you know what I mean? We're being even more subtle than normal. This just looks like the updated version of the truck that we saw, a week ago, a couple of weeks ago.
We've seen uncamouflaged prototypes pretty much all summer.
Yeah. Yep.
All summer. And what really got me, what really got me about this, there was one particular post that I wrote. Usually, I mean, we have spy photographers kind of stashed around the world, and they're getting photos, but a lot of times they have some sources that they're reaching to as well. So they'll feed us a little bit of information. We think this is X trim, or we think this is that trim. And there was a particular post I wrote where it was like, we think this is the Lariat trim. Why? Because Ford didn't cover up the Lariat badge on the fender. It says Lariat right here on the truck. So I mean, yeah, this has been kind of a weird cycle. And I mean, we can see, I mean, the grill is a little different. Things look just a little more squared off here on the front. So what other changes are coming? That's what we're going to find out here in about 20 minutes.
So, folks, anyone watching, whoops, I didn't press the button right. There we go. I just put it in the chat. There's a link. You will see the STX trim, you will see the Platinum trim, and you will see the Heritage trim there. All of them without camouflage. If you're watching literally right now, this is the XTX version. But we got a bunch of questions. So many questions. I got
lots of questions. We love it.
Go through them. I'm going to do my very, very best. So a blooper reel 2011 is right. We are not, as far as I know, Ford has not said this, so I'm guessing. To my knowledge, there are no changes coming to the Lightning EV. This is purely for the combustion engine version of the F-150. So
yeah, Ford has been treating Lightning and F-150, not the ICE engined Lightnings, as different products, right? So like it would be a gigantic surprise, and frankly not particularly likely for them to blend in some Lightning news with this F-150 update. Now, somebody was bringing up, and maybe this is another one for you to get to, Bruce, like other variants of the truck. Like clearly you can get an F-150 in about 174 different flavors. Today, I'm sure you can get it in 175 different flavors tomorrow after we see this debut. So we know that there's going to be lots to talk about. Even if because that's the thing, you guys, right? Like even if they're doing kind of an update, a mid-cycle refresh or whatever we call it, that means a lot with something like F-150, not only because lots of people buy them, but because that means so many different changes to trim levels, options packages, and what have you that you can order with the truck today. So, Bruce, I thought now I got to go back up.
Yeah, I'm looking through the questions as well. Keep pumping in the questions. I promise we're going to get to as many as we can here before the debut goes.
Oh, Greg J2 had a great question about how long they typically. Greg said how long typically before they start building and shipping the new model year trucks, right? And I think like the short answer is it's probably going to be very soon. Again, we don't know. If we were sitting at the press conference, this would be something that we can ask, right? Like when are these going to hit dealer lots? But we're in September. We are in new model year season, historically speaking, for vehicles. We are, in case you guys missed it or forgot that it moved, we are now one day removed from the start of the Detroit Auto Show, where some new products are going to be coming, especially from domestic automakers, we assume. So my guess would be, and you guys correct me if you think that I'm wrong, that what we see on stage today is probably going to be right around the corner for production and and on sale.
my prediction, and again, this is a prediction, 2 to 3 months, maybe even less than that from going into production. And then you kind of add 2 months of that of actually arriving in dealers. So by, November, December, the first units of this is probably going to arrive at dealers. And then next year in volume, they'll just be everywhere.
And I suspect that'll be something that's made very clear here at the launch. One thing to keep in mind, I mean, we're looking at spy photos. We see what really amounts to a minor refresh up front. We still don't know yet what might be going on under the skin or in the interior. But when we're talking about a minor refresh, there generally isn't going to be a lot of changeover happening in plants to put these trucks out. So I would say sooner rather than later is a very safe. And I mean, we're talking about F-150. It's been the best-selling vehicle in North America for decades.
I just wrote a story about this. It's been the best-selling truck in the United States for 46 years. Best-selling truck, not best-selling vehicle. Yeah. But it's been the best-selling vehicle for decades as well. But I think 46 years for best-selling truck.
I think it took over best-selling vehicle like in the 90s.
We got to be careful about
what
we report and what we believe, of course. But Tesla would have something to say about best-selling vehicle, at least globally, for sure.
No, I'm saying in the United States, because the F-Series isn't really available globally,
That's right. Well, that makes it even more crazy, right? The fact that it's been such a powerful global model, it's really only sold in a few countries. But I mean, on the timing question, I think you guys are right. I think one of two things will happen. These are either right around the corner and they are being produced right now and will go on sale in a month or so, or they'll go into production almost immediately and be on sale at the start of next year, right? That's just the cycle. Like it's unlikely that they would go on sale any other time, just based on 100 years of producing automobiles at this point.
Let me jump in here because Big SA has a question that we've kind of touched on here thus far. Do you think there is going to be any big changes to engines, drivetrain? That is something that I feel very, very confident will be answered at the live stream. We don't have anything to go on right now. Based on experience with mid-cycle refreshes, not just from Ford, but from other automakers, we usually, I mean, if anything, we usually see maybe some tweaks to power. But generally speaking, there are usually minimal changes to drivetrain. Like I said, though, we're going to find out with all of you here in about 15 minutes when Ford's presentation goes live. Just a little something to go on there. Think about it as we're going forward. But yeah, keep the questions coming, everybody. We're doing our best to keep up here.
I mean, I think devil's advocate would be, in a mid-cycle refresh, it wouldn't be the strangest thing in the world for them to announce a new powertrain or a new variant of a powertrain that exists. Uprated power, and certainly like different capabilities. Like we expect to see those kinds of things for sure. So whether or not it's going to be a brand new engine, or our friend Adam Wortman just said he would love to see a hybrid Tremor, which would be really cool. Whether or not it's something that significant or not, we just don't know. I would say it's certainly within the realm of possibility, right? I mean, it's within the realm of possibility that we get really significant powertrain news. So, but that's why it's fun to watch. That's why it's fun to watch along with you guys. So
and Zachary Woloshek, I hope I got your name right. 124.
Try.
What'd you do?
Bruce? Oh no, I pressed the wrong button. Is what I did.
You took my question away. Zachary says, "Will the interior have any changes?" And similar to the powertrain, we haven't seen anything that tells us one way or the other, except we have seen in some spy photos, we've been able to kind of zoom in on the windows. We've been able to see some covers in there. What that's covering up, we don't know. But just the existence of cover suggests something must be going on. So,
yeah, I'm going to go on a limb here. There's no way that they do zero to the interior, right? Like there's very little chance that they go and do all of this, even for a mid-cycle update, and do nothing there. Is it going to be a new head unit? Is it going to be a new larger screen size? Is it going to be a new infotainment software version that we haven't seen before? Is it going to be new functionality inside of that? a gear lever, like whatever. What are the things that like usually happen in these things? Like new switch gear, better materials, new
Exactly.
trim kind of appearance packages, fabrics or leathers and things like that. I don't know. I literally don't know the answer to that, but I do know that I would be really surprised if we didn't see something like that too. So,
guys, Michael Kirkus has a very interesting question. Thanks for this. Does anyone notice a slight Euro style to the front fascia? It reminds me of the Ford Explorer for Europe. Thanks much for that question. Since we do have spy photos showing the front of the truck basically uncovered here.
Oh yeah.
I mean, I guess I hadn't considered it in that realm before. I tell you what, I do see is especially on some of the other trims, it looks like the platinum still has kind of a more modern look, but we're seeing a lot of like 70s and 80s kind of retro cues I'm getting with sort of that old egg crate grill. If you guys recall, I'm trying to think of the generation of truck that is here. I think that's going to be like the 6th, 7th gen trucks, where you had this kind of that big chunky egg crate grill in the front. That's kind of what I'm getting there. What do you guys think?
I don't know. I don't
really see that. Go ahead, Bruce. Sorry.
No. It sounds like you and I agree. I don't necessarily. It's not that it's retro, but it's also not like, it's not. This is like the futuristic F-150 either. It kind of is sticking with, from what we've seen here, it's sticking with what it's done in the past, and that's not necessarily a bad thing. It still has those kind of very I always, whenever I write about it, I call them bracket style headlights. I know some people call them C style headlights, where the accent lights kind of surround the lights, and then the actual headlights are stacked. But yeah, it's I don't necessarily see that, but I'm not going to fight you on it either.
I think going back to the question though about the Euro Explorer, because I pulled up some images, and I'm not sure if this is exactly one that the viewer was referencing. I can see a little bit of a family resemblance in the spy shots that we have of the SX or STX front view, right? Which has got kind of, I don't even know how you describe it. It's somewhere, it's not really an egg crate, but it looks, to me, it almost looks like links of a chain together in that black grill that are kind of chromed out. The Explorer is a little bit more of a dense kind of a hex pattern or something like that, but I can see a little family resemblance in there. And I will say that, like, with all these grills and a lot of the new products that we've seen from Ford, the non-EV products that have these more kind of evocative grills, I'd say generally speaking, they tend to be going a lot more kind of three-dimensional with them, right? So more totally. Texture, even apparent just from like a long view, and less of sort of a slab front to it. So Chris, Smith, I think I know what you're talking about. Like you're saying egg crate sort of tickles the right nerves in my brain, even though I don't actually see it the same way. I think it's that, right? It's that three-dimensionalness of the grill that I recognize from the past. The shapes just look a little different for me in the spy shots that we're seeing, at least. So
I don't think anybody said egg crate tickle in the same sentence before.
No. Here, I'm gonna put up Greg J2's comment. I hope it's not a vertical screen. Not a fan of the one in my Ram. Want to go back to the Raptor with a horizontal screen. So yeah, interesting take, because different automakers are doing different things, and there's not necessarily a correct answer to that. Like, some are going with that portrait style screen, some are going with the landscape style screen. It's just an interesting thing, and some people prefer one, some people prefer the other. And I don't know that there's a right answer. It's just a matter of preference.
Just an opinion. I like the landscape style. Seth,
see, that's the thing. Are you a portrait style?
So you're a portrait style, Bruce. What are you, Seth? You're the tiebreaker.
I think that generally speaking, I like it when it's landscape a little bit more, but to me, it's all about the integration. And the one thing I will say here, like, we have one really strong data point here, right? We know Mach-E, right? Mach-E has got a very large portrait-oriented screen that I think has done incredibly well in that car. It's, I think on occasion when I've driven Mach-E, it can be a little bit distracting, especially if you don't get, like, it's sort of switched from night mode to day mode. at the appropriate time and you're driving at dusk or through tunnels or something like that, it can be a little distracting just because it's so big and it's capable of putting out so much light. But in terms of functionality and giving real estate to what I want to see, and even like I've always loved it's got this neat touch where the volume knob and the control knob is backlit just in the center. So it's like it's overlaying the screen as opposed to not part of the screen. Stuff like that, that detailing was really nice. So I would not be shocked, to be honest, to see them go to a portrait style vertical screen in F-150 if they feel like they've got the real estate in the cabin to do it without having to completely re-engineer the cabin. But I guess I wouldn't be shocked for them to say at the end of the day, it's a truck. Like, it needs to work across all price points. It's got a much more difficult sort of task to do than Mach-E does, which has to operate in a much more narrow band of potential drivers, even across the variants. So
Smith, sorry, I just preempted someone. Frank Sell asked, when is the unveil? It is roughly 10 minutes from now, almost exactly 10 minutes
I'm
from
looking
now.
I'm looking at Ford's live stream, and we are 9 minutes and counting. And again, to remind everybody, whether you're following us, Motor One on YouTube, Motor One Com Facebook, Motor One Com Twitter, you're watching our pregame show. We will have Ford's live stream right here. You don't need to switch
you don't have
over.
to go anywhere. We're going to mute ourselves. You'll see the full thing, and then we'll come back after the show and do kind of a post game. Here's all the cool stuff we found out. So
we're going to have everything
right
for
here
you
and chill out with us.
I hate to say it, but I got to say it. The one spot stop to shop for all your 2024 Ford F-150 needs.
Thanks, Smith.
And I'm gonna go just pull the trigger on my own self right now, because that's the most terrible cliche. Before I do though, Con R asks a very good question. Will there be Blue Cruise on the Raptor? A little unsure yet on what all the tech functions are going to be. I believe you also asked, will we get a new Raptor debut as well? Two very good questions. I can definitely answer this one as being yes, because we have seen camouflaged and uncamouflaged Raptors running around Detroit. This is basically going to be 2024 F-150 minus the Lightning, which is kind of being set up as its own thing here on its doing its own thing. We're going to see all the combustion versions here tonight.
And I'm going to comment here on David D, who says, what about the tailgate wars? Which I love the idea of the tailgate wars. I want that to be the new Star Wars.
I feel like that's a young adult series from the 80s.
Sure. Or that could be like Gene Roddenberry versus George Lucas. But yeah.
Tailgate wars.
Anything new from Ford on this one, we have to wait and see. Wait till after the show and we'll have a little bit more info on that.
On the Blue Cruise front, you guys, I think that there's, again, I don't know, I'm guessing here, but it seems like Ford is going to let Blue Cruise sort of percolate through the entire lineup, really. And we know that it's already on F-150. Certainly, we know that it's starting on like higher trim level versions of the as optional of F-150. Raptor, in my mind, it's a little strange to have an F-150 Raptor that has this kind of, like quasi, like advanced driver assist systems on it too, since it's really meant to be driven anywhere but the road. But people will still want it, and they drive those trucks like daily drivers, and they're at higher price points. So I absolutely think that it's going to end up there. Whether or not we find out about it today, I'm not positive about. But I would be very surprised if it didn't end up in the Raptor portfolio before all is said and done for this second half of this generation of F-150.
Very good, folks. We are about 5 minutes away from Ford's official live stream debut of the 2024 Ford F-150. If you're just tuning in, if you're just catching us here, I can see our view count going up a little bit. Thanks for joining us.
Yes.
Whether you're on Motor One on YouTube, Motor One Com on Facebook, Motor One Com on Twitter, you can comment. It comes into our little headquarters here, our digital headquarters, so we can respond live. And when the debut starts, you don't need to go anywhere else. We're going to carry it right here on our feed. And then afterwards, we'll be right back to do a little bit more after show commentary. But we've got a few minutes left to talk The unveil happens very,
Just a
very
couple.
shortly. Guys, what other questions? Do we have some last minute questions here before we head off to the big event here?
Let me reiterate too, while Bruce is hunting, that like we're gonna watch along with you guys. We're also just gonna keep our mouths shut. We're gonna observe.
Yes.
If you do have questions or comments or something, let them fly. We'll do our best to grab the ones that we think are most interesting, and we can still respond in comments too without interrupting the kind of purity of the debut. So we'll hit you up in chat, but not chat at you until the presentation is over.
I guess while we're just finishing up here, any changes for engines, we don't know yet is the thing, or we can't comment about it yet. We just kind of don't know.
That's
so-
one of the things that we'll have to that we'll be learning about with everybody else.
Exactly.
As we were saying before, mid-cycle refreshes, it's possible you could see a new engine debut, changes to existing. One thing we don't expect is anything radical, like Ford to come out and say,
No.
everything's going to have a 3-cylinder turbo now. Probably not
Exactly.
going to happen in the F-150. Probably not going to happen.
What do you guys think you're going to see? Well, we're waiting for this to close out. Now, I mean, obviously, Smith and Bruce, you guys have been talking about it, but we can answer this too, but I want to throw this out there to the people who are viewing. What do you guys think? What are you expecting to see? What are you hoping to see? We're seeing a lot of questions about Raptor, advanced Ford technologies that they would like to see, some stuff that they don't want to see at all. Some people don't want a large screen in their truck. So what would you guys, even in a wacky sort of dream list, what would you love to see?
Smith, you want to go first, or can I? I've got something in mind.
Well, let me actually answer that by saying what I don't want to see.
Okay.
And that's everything relegated to touch screens. And I think as we're seeing with both Ram and Silverado, I think the truck segment is kind of there with me. We're still seeing a lot of tactile controls in these vehicles in an age where everything else, it seems like, is going, fully glass cockpit. So I mean, that's kind of my big thing. I don't want to see all the tactile controls go away. I will say right now, I think Ram has the best looking interior. I really like that handsome layout. Ford, I think, is a pretty close second. So, as long as we keep the materials up, and I'm not a big fan of the very large touch screens. I think the screen that's in there now is fairly well proportioned. I would really, I hope Ford doesn't mess with the screens, to be honest. Don't need to take it any bigger. Let's keep it the way it is.
That's interesting, because to me, and I agree with our previous commenter, and I apologize that I forget your screen name, but we are in the screen wars. Like, we were in the horsepower wars for a long time, and that's kind of subsided in a certain way. But now we are in the screen wars, where screens get bigger and bigger and bigger. And I think there's an ideal size. You can't make them too big, but I think Ford could make it a little bit bigger and just be perfect. You add an inch, you add a half inch, something like that here and there. So I'll be curious to see if they do that. And then there's also just like the driving tech. Like, who cares what the side of the screen is, where, people that drive F-150s, a lot of them obviously drive them as a daily vehicle, but also people use them. So if you're trailering, well, specifically trailering, actually, that, you can see behind your trailer, that you can, all that blind spot monitoring and stuff like that. I really hope that they consider how people use these trucks and how to improve the lives of the people that are using these trucks.
Seeing a lot of comments that I agree with for Power Boost getting more EV range, and they're saying more capability, maybe a slightly bigger battery pack. I've always thought that the Power Boost hybrid has been like a really fantastic sweet spot for right now for what F-150 is doing in terms of powertrain. So I agree. Something getting even a little bit more capability out of that, I think, would offer a lot of people massive utility. So
very good. Well, folks, we are less than a minute away from Ford's scheduled live stream event here, 2024 Ford F-150 coming to you live ahead of the Detroit Auto Show. We're going to go ahead and switch over to the feed here right now. I see they've got some music playing here. Stay tuned. You can see everything happen right here after the debut. We'll be right back to talk about everything that we've seen. Thank you very much, folks. We'll see you very, very shortly here.
Just trying to catch a good time, hey. Even if it takes all night. Here we go, y'all. As I bottle around the campfire, sipping apple pie moonshine. Y'all ready? Yeah, we picking on the guitars, just everybody singing Dixieland delight. Like a bottle on a wet line. We just trying to catch a good time. Let's catch it, boys. 80 degrees and the sun ain't even out. We got a spot a couple miles out of town. When that moon comes up, you know it's going down. Yeah, now. We got the folded chairs leaning way back. No other plans other than a relax. We ain't worried about tomorrow from where we at. Why's that, y'all? We just trying to catch a good time, even if it takes all night. There's that bottle around the campfire, sipping apple pie moonshine. Yeah, we picking on the guitars, everybody singing Dixieland delight. Like a bottle on a wet line. We just trying to catch a good time. Here we go. Way out here, we all got that Detroit draw. Take our time when we talking, hey y'all. Yeah, it don't take much for us to have it all. That's right. Something about a night this clear. Makes your problems disappear. We just gonna stay right here and let the world go by. Hey world, we just trying to catch a good time. Even if it takes all night. There's that bottle around the campfire, sipping apple pie moonshine. Hey, yeah, we picking on the guitars, just everybody singing Dixieland delight. Like a dollar on a wet line. We just trying to catch a good time. Something about a night this clear. Makes your problems disappear. We just gonna stay right here and let the world go by. Now, y'all, I love optimism. I love positivity. I'm a big believer in the power of it, y'all. That's why I love listening to music that makes me feel that way. You know, music like Kenny Chesney. Music like Jimmy Buffett. Music like Bob Marley. What if we put a Marley twist on Good Time? What would that sound like? We just trying to catch a good time, hey. Even if it takes all night. Hey. That's that bottle around the campfire, sipping apple pie moonshine. Here we go. Yeah, we picking on the guitars, just everybody singing Dixieland delight. Like a barber on a wet line. We just trying to catch a good time. Yeah, we trying to catch a good time. Hey, good time. Yeah, we trying to catch a good time. Good time. Yeah, we trying to catch a good time. Let me hear you. Good time. Yeah, we trying to catch a good time. Everybody, good time. Yeah, we trying to catch a good time. Detroit, good time. Yeah, we trying to catch a good time. One more again, y'all. Good time. Love y'all so much, everybody. Thank you. Have a great rest of the night, y'all. Be good to each other. Love each other. Be kind to each other. We all in this life together, yeah? I'm Nico Moon. I'll see y'all soon. See you in the Fillmore, everybody, October 21st. Love you. One love. Peace.
Good evening. Can I hear it one more time for Nico Moon? Thank you all so much for being here to help celebrate America's truck. We have got a lot more in store for you tonight. Music, food, horsepower and torque, towing and tech, power and fun. Any F-150 drivers out there? Just a few. Absolutely amazing. Love to see it and love to hear it. And this is why we are all here, to see and hear about the F-150 and how it keeps getting on even better and better. I'm here right now with Andrew Frick, Vice President of Sales and Trucks. Andrew, thanks so much for joining us tonight.
Thanks, Christy. It's great to be here with you and everyone else. It was a beautiful night tonight. Good to see everyone. You know, it's nights like tonight that get all of us at Ford extremely excited. And it's also a great reminder of what Ford trucks really mean to every community across the country. F-Series is America's best-selling truck for 46 years. That's right. And for 41 years, it's been America's best-selling vehicle. So let me put that into perspective for a minute. Last year, we sold an F-Series truck every 48 seconds. So if you lined up F-Series trucks bumper to bumper, those trucks would stretch from here to Los Angeles.
Wow. Okay. Yeah. What does that mean for the entire country? That's quite the stretch.
It is the stretch, but F-Series is really an economic engine for the U.S. in so many ways. F-Series generated $41 billion last year. In fact, if F-Series was a Fortune 500 company, it alone would be larger than Visa, Starbucks, or Netflix. Over 75 years of F-Series, we've sold over 41 million trucks. It's one of America's most popular consumer products, second only to the Apple iPhone. And we are proud that F-150 and all F-Series are 100% assembled in America. From Dearborn Truck Plant to Kansas City Assembly, Kentucky Truck Plant to Ohio Assembly, we employ more hourly workers in America than any other automaker. Because we know what the American auto worker can accomplish. F-150 is truly America's truck. It brings volunteers to the firehouse. It brings the muscle to the work site. It brings in the harvest. It brings home the bacon. And with Pro Power on board, it even powers the grill that can grill that bacon. And tonight, we're here to show how America's best-selling truck and Ford is raising the bar yet again. Let's take the very first look at the new F-150.
It's one thing to know it all. It's another to do it all. Introducing the new 2024 Ford F-150. Tough this smart can only be called F-150.
Here I am with America's Truck and Milton Wong, Chief Engineer for the F-150. Hey, Milton, it's so great to have you here tonight.
Hi, Christy. Hi, everyone. All right. What do you think of this truck? All right. Today, we get to share what we've been working on to develop this new F-150. For us, it's about understanding our customers to better equip them. We went out and we talked to them. We lived with them. And most importantly, we listened to them. That is our commitment to delivering the innovations that our customers use. And this new F-150 has built Ford Tough capability to handle any pursuit. All right, first, let's talk about the 3.5-liter Power Boost full hybrid engine. It combines the best parts of EcoBoost and electric power. The powerful hybrid engine helps our customers get anywhere, and it lets them do just about anything. Every Power Boost comes standard with a 2.4 kilowatt Pro Power onboard generator or an optional 7.2 kilowatt system. That is Pro Power on board. And right now, we're using it to power some of this festival.
I mean, F-150 is literally bringing the party tonight.
Absolutely. BYOP. Bring your own power. And Pro Power on board is quieter than even the quietest traditional portable generators. But okay, there's a lot more to tell you about today. In this new F-150, we are also bringing great new features that you'll find across the entire lineup, from XL to Platinum. Okay, today, technology and connectivity are more important than ever. So, the 12-inch touchscreen, the 12-inch digital cluster, and the built-in 5G modem are now going in across the board, standard in our lineup. We've also added an available heads-up display, which helps the drivers keep their eyes on the road. It's inspired by fighter jets. We display the most important information to the driver to help them while they are towing and hauling, going off-road, or going hands-free on the highway with Blue Cruise. But the biggest improvement might just be in the back. Today, we want to talk to you about the Pro Access tailgate.
Ooh, is Ford getting into the tailgate wars here?
Getting in? No, Ford is ending the tailgate wars. Oh. All right, so 75% of our customers tow in some capacity, but not all tailgates work when towing. This one does. The Pro Access tailgate is not only power up and down, but now it also has an integrated swing door that opens to 100 degrees. It has 3 opening angles and built-in stops. The first one is fundamental. It prevents the door from hitting the trailer jack when provides a large enough opening to pull out large things like a cooler or to hop in and out of the truck bed. We also widened the bumper step, made the bumper step deeper so that you can confidently hop in and out. We added an optional retractable step for those who need it to make entry and exit easier. And we also put an integrated handhold to give yourself some stability as you climb in and out.
I kind of feel like you guys thought of everything pertaining to tailgates.
Well, our customers really led the way, right? We think a lot about all of this. But this isn't just about the tailgate anymore. It's about changing the whole experience, changing the whole back end of the truck. So we work with our customers to find everyday problems that they experience when using their pickup beds. And we found ways to solve them. And these are our new capabilities. So if you think about it, all of our customers use trucks very differently. Sometimes we're using them to do very heavy duty work, like carrying mulch, right? But sometimes our customers are just trying to handle everyday tasks like bringing groceries home, right? And that can be a real pain with a truck, right? So we saw that customers either cram their groceries into the second row at their kids, right in front of their kids' feet, or they put them in the back of the pickup bed. But when they get home, they find that it's a long reach over the tailgate to get their groceries out. Well, with Pro Access Tailgate, you are now at the very edge of the bed. You have very easy reach to everything, right? And now combined with our tonneau cover and our bed divider, the Pro Access Tailgate transforms the back third of the of the bed into a trunk, right? But we all use our trucks differently. So with the new tailgate, DIY features, and our full arsenal of accessories, our customers can form-fit solutions for their individual lifestyles and life stages.
So Milton, you didn't just improve functionality, you also gave them some new looks as well.
That's right. Look at this truck, right? So for our premium trucks, we created a sophisticated, a tough, and athletic appearance with new lamps, new grills, and the next evolution of our signature C-clamp. We also gave XL, STX, XLT, and Tremor a sporty new personality with a one-piece coast-to-coast grill. With our standard LED lamps, the workhorse of our lineup is now bolder, tougher, and more modern. These are our brand new trucks, and they are unmistakably F-150.
Thank you so much, Milton. We appreciate it. That's some great new examples of pure American ingenuity at work. Now let's talk about the purposeful tech you'll find in the driver's seat. Thank you. Joining me now is Jennifer Shaw from Ford's Driver Assistance Software and Feature Team. Jennifer, it's so great to have you here. How is Ford using technology to take F-150 to the next level?
Hi, Christy. We use tech to improve the driver's experience, safety, and productivity. And we're increasing the availability of driver assist technologies across the F-150 lineup. Safety is always our top priority, and that's why we've had automatic emergency braking standard on every F-150 since 2021. All F-150s include the latest versions of pre-collision assist with automatic emergency braking, lane keeping system, and blind spot information with cross-traffic alert. We added features like exit warning, which alerts a driver about to open their door if a vehicle, pedestrian, or cyclist is approaching from behind. Our available hands-free driving technology, Ford Blue Cruise, can help make driving less stressful and more enjoyable. And the new F-150 has Blue Cruise 1.2, which brings new features like lane change assist, allowing you to safely switch lanes with just the tap of the turn signal, and in-lane repositioning, which helps you to shift the vehicle away from other vehicles on the road. And it gets better over time with over-the-air software updates.
All right, we're talking trucks here, so we got to talk about towing technology.
Absolutely. F-150 owners tow a lot. And for the past few years, we've been finding ways to make their lives easier and their towing experiences more enjoyable and less stressful. First, we added Pro Trailer Backup Assist, which makes backing up a trailer as easy as turning a knob. Then we gave our customers the option of adding onboard scales with Smart Hitch. And Pro Trailer Hitch Assist is an industry-first technology that uses computer vision and machine learning to automatically back up the truck and align the hitch ball with the trailer coupler, all with just the push of a button. You only need the driver to do this. No more arguing, getting frustrated with a friend or loved one, like, left, no, right.
Wait, am I right or you're right?
No, stop, go forward. No, back it up. Too far.
Oh, we've all been there before, right? I can see how this can be a huge relationship saver.
Exactly. Pro Trailer Hitch Assist is just the next step on a ladder of features that Ford has been adding to F-150 to make towing and trailering easy and safe.
All right, we've got all these new technologies, but like a cell phone, they'll be obsolete in basically a heartbeat, right?
Not at all. They are future-proof through over-the-air software updates. And F-150 owners can also find peace of mind with a new feature, Stolen Vehicle Services, available to customers in North America for the very first time. This feature alerts the owner if someone attempts to access, tamper with, or tow the truck. Owners can opt in to share location data directly from the vehicle with the 24/7 Ford support team, who will work with local authorities to locate and recover the vehicle. And because this vehicle is so connected, businesses can manage their fleet through Ford Pro Telematics to deal with maintenance and maximize uptime. Everything is designed to make our customers more productive, more safe, and more powerful on the road.
Thank you, Jennifer. We really appreciate your time and all the information. Now let's take a closer look at something we talked about a little earlier. Powerful tech first introduced in 2021 that's giving F-150 the power to plug in and come through. Segment exclusive Pro Power on board.
Ragna Kamal and Etravel Chandrasekhar got married. They held a nighttime reception in Farmington Hills. Then about 10:30, the skies opened up and the lights went out.
So the power is out, and here comes the F-150. Oh, there's the power. Woo! Ford saves the day.
More than 200,000 utility customers are in the dark right now across the region.
With my Ford F-150 7.2 kilowatt Pro Power onboard generator, the show will always go on.
Are you charging people's cars again?
Looks pretty good.
My name is Jose Ortega with Team Rubicon. Currently, we are in East Florida, Cape Coral, bucking out of home after Hurricane Ian.
And this unique truck will allow us to supply our volunteers with power to recharge their tools, create lighting or cooling. Essentially, you can think of these as pickup trucks that are also mobile generators.
Winds, rain, and even a reported tornado, leaving behind major storm damage and massive power outages.
Power is out at Minglewood. The F-150. The show must go on.
So we're running about 3,000 watts, and it's working perfectly. So thank you, Ford.
Joining me now is John Emmert, Ford's General Manager for North America Trucks. John, it's so great to have you here. Thanks for joining us. What can you tell us about Pro Power on board?
Well, hi, Christy. Pro Power on board is standard on the F-150 Power Boost Hybrid. It turns F-150 into a mobile power plant. It lets you plug in many kinds of electric appliances and tools. It's also safe for the family. You might use it on a campsite. We had a customer from Montpelier, Indiana. He told us that he uses it to run a welder on his farm, to run electronics in his camper, and even to run an ice cream trailer at local events in his hometown. You know, you can even help a stranded Tesla driver power up their car on the side of the road.
How much power exactly does it generate?
So it comes standard with 2.4 kilowatt hours of power on the hybrid. And about 3/4 of our customers actually upgrade to the 7.2 kilowatt hour version. With that kind of power, just to put it in context, a contractor can keep their entire crew working to frame a house with every tool plugged in all at once, like a miter saw, or a circular saw, or a chop saw, a hammer drill, a welder. You get my point, but all at the same time. So the Tate family, they recently wrote us while they were on a road trip to let us know that they're using ProPower on board to power up a 25-foot Airstream camper. And they're doing that on their trip from Idaho all the way to New Hampshire. And I love this story. In Maine, there's a nonprofit that is now using ProPower on board to power a mobile dental clinic, bringing oral care to remote, underserved communities in Maine. Now the competition, so our competition can talk about going off the grid, but we can take the grid with us.
I mean, I feel like that can just make such a huge difference. That capability can really impact something in a huge crisis.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's making a difference right now. In the wake of Hurricane Idalia, Team Rubicon, a veteran-led humanitarian organization, is using ProPower on board to light up their forward operating base in Perry, Florida. Now, they call the F-150 Power Boost a game changer. It's illuminating their camp, and it's assisting them with all the hard work that they have to do to help that community recover. So from Florida to the Carolinas, we're seeing F-150 owners use ProPower on board to keep their lights, their refrigerators, baby monitors, and all their medical equipment powered up while the power lines are down. So this map shows ProPower on board and how it was used following the recent tornadoes we had right here in Michigan. Behind each of these dots is someone, a person, a family who now has quiet and reliable energy when they need it the most. We saw the same thing after Hurricane Idalia, after Hurricane Ian, and after the Texas ice storms. Our trucks aren't just efficient, they are mighty, and they are tough.
They are tough. They are definitely efficient. I feel like they might be popular as well.
They certainly are, Christy. In the last 3 months, F-150 hybrid sales are up 33% versus the same period a year ago. And we see our hybrids, our internal combustion engines, and our EVs each playing an important role in our strategy to keep blazing that trail and leading the way for the future. So just like with the F-150 Lightning, we're aiming high with our hybrid trucks. Today, for example, Ford has 75% market share of the hybrid pickup subsegment. Yeah, and 10% of all the F-150s we sell today are hybrids. But we are just getting started. In fact, next year, we plan to double the mix of hybrid trucks that we manufacture in 2024. F-150 is aiming to be among the top 3 best-selling hybrids in this country by the end of next year.
Wow. Okay, so these trucks can perform off the grid, but how about off the road?
Of course. If it's off-road agility and powerful work capability you're looking for, check out the new F-150 Tremor.
That Tremor sure knows how to make an entrance. Look at that.
Yeah, I know. It knows how to make an exit too. Right off the road, onto the trail, and over the horizon. Tremor is factory built for off-road with shocks, wheels, and pure power to handle the rough terrain without compromising towing or payload.
It looks fantastic, but I'm sure we're all wondering, what's exactly new on the Tremor?
Well, one thing to point out is this new front bumper. It's a modular front bumper, and this design makes it easier to install some of the awesome accessories we offer, like brush bars, a Ford Performance winch kit, and even a light bar that can help you light up the trail at night ahead of you.
I mean, lighting up the trails in a Tremor, that just sounds like the perfect off-roading experience to me. But I have to know, can it handle the elements?
Oh, absolutely. From the blazing desert heat in Southern California to the brutal cold weather testing that we put it through right here in Northern Michigan, we have put Tremor through its paces, both off-road and on.
Ooh, I don't think anybody wants to hear about the brutal cold weather in Michigan just yet, okay? Simmer down on that. But the F-150 team has proven that the next evolution of F-150 delivers the power to get things done and the capability to bring a smile to any face. But that smile that you've got right there, I feel like there's something more up your sleeve, like there's another surprise.
Yes. Oh, yes. There is one more beast backstage. It is the fiercest truck anywhere. Do y'all want to see it? All right. Here is the next version of the original high-performance off-road truck, the new F-150 Raptor.
Oh, wow, this truck is insane. I love it. Welcome back, Andrew
Thank
Frick,
you.
guys. Tell us, we got to know about this Raptor.
Yes, I cannot wait to tell you. Well, first of all, Ford invented the high-performance off-road pickup truck with the first generation Raptor in 2009. Since then, and now through 3 generations, Raptor is the ultimate expression of extreme capability and performance in F-150.
All right, Raptor already kind of had a pretty aggressive roar, but how do you make a monster like this Raptor even tougher?
Yeah, well, we know our customers take Raptor to the max. That's why when we made the suspension even better with available Fox dual valve shocks that dynamically adjust to ensure comfort, control, and confidence, we added a new modular bumper for better off-road clearance and the option to add a light bar to the front. And when you are in Baja mode, the off-road information is right in front of your eyes. We want you to take that ridge and take on that terrain. And I'm telling you, this is one tough truck.
All right, so it's not just a Raptor, it's a Raptor R. We want to hear about the
Raptor R. I mean, Raptor R takes it to the pinnacle. 5.2 liter supercharged V8, 37-inch all-terrain tires standard, best-in-class ground clearance, over 700 horsepower. The new F-150 Raptor R is not only our most powerful and off-road capable Raptor ever, it's targeted to be the most powerful full-size off-road truck ever. So when you see that Raptor with that orange R coming your way down the road, you know you were looking at the ultimate extreme off-road beast mode truck.
Yeah, you see that R, you better watch out, okay?
Yeah,
What
seriously.
a way to cap off this F-150 lineup with this truck.
Yeah, it is. And everyone at Ford has such immense pride. I know everyone here does as well in F-150. I want to say thank you to the team members here with us tonight from Dearborn Truck Plant. Who's here? All right. Thank you for being here. Let's also give a shout out to our Kansas City Assembly Plant team and everyone else who puts their heart and soul into the new F-150 before it rolls off the line. We also want to thank our designers, engineers, suppliers, and our dealers, every member of the F-150 family. The trucks you see on the stage are your monuments. We mean that. When we say that F-150 is America's truck, we truly mean that. So just take a look at this map. Utah loves that power boost. Nevada loves Raptor. Idaho makes the ground shake with Tremor. Alaska goes for the max trailer tow package. Florida buys the most 4x2s, while Vermont likes their 4x4s. Whatever your needs, there's an F-150 for you, and it just got even better in 2024. No matter what style and options you pick, there's one thing you can be sure of. Your F-150, like all of our F-Series trucks, were assembled right here in the USA. And our competitors cannot say that. F-Series creates over 500,000 jobs across America. F-Series is an American icon, powered by American ingenuity, stamped with American pride, built Ford tough, and all in on America.
There are people who say things aren't made here anymore. Those people should come to Michigan or Kentucky or Missouri, where you'll find Ford workers, not just assembling vehicles, but building the future of automotive manufacturing. It's why Ford employs the most hourly auto workers in this country. Can't speak for the other guys, but we're all in on America.
Well, we're back.
We are back. Ladies and
Hey,
gentlemen, the
everybody.
2024 Ford F-150 is here. That's 8:37. I'm upset. Ford said it was going to be done at 8:30, and then they gave us a bunch of information. Well, guys, hey, thanks to everybody for sticking around with us, for enjoying the live stream debut. We still have a lot of viewers here on the stream, and we've got some questions. Send us your questions wherever you're at right now. Motor One on YouTube, Motor1.com on Facebook, Motor1.com on Twitter. You can type in your questions. We can answer your questions. And now we have some info to go by. And in case you haven't seen it, we do have our live debut post over at Motor1.com, where we have photos, we have information, all kinds of stuff. Guys, what do you think of the new truck?
Yeah, let me just emphasize as the as the one trying to excuse me, keep you guys here. We want to talk to you. We want your questions. We'd love for you to keep watching the live stream. If you want to just go and dive into everything we know about F-150, about the updated 2024 F-150, please go to Motor1.com. One of these gentlemen is going to drop the link again too, so that you guys can see that. We've got it up in the chat, but we do have all of the information that we know today. Maybe we learned a few things here. I don't know. Like, to me, I guess Smith, this is it's a like a visual update story, but mostly we're talking about a tailgate story, right? As the biggest news out of this program.
Yeah, I mean, the biggest news is always debatable. I think personally the tailgate is the big story here, because it is Ford's answer to I can't even remember the specific names for Ram, and then GMC that's then migrated over to Chevrolet. Of course, it's the Pro Access tailgate that still functions raised and lower like a regular tailgate, but then it's got that little door section in the middle that opens in 3 specific detents, and Ford was very clear to emphasize that, yes, we have 3 specific detents where it stops. 37 degrees, 70 degrees, I think, and then 100 degrees. And they really wanted to emphasize that this opens way up to 100 degrees so you can get clear access in. But the first detent at 37 degrees is still small enough to where you can open it up, reach inside if you have a trailer connected. Does it end the tailgate wars?
No,
I mean, I'm just going to leave that up for debate.
No, it doesn't. We are in the tailgate wars, whether it's multi-pro, whether what does Ram call it? I know it.
Great question. We can look it up. Don't know the answer to that, but I think
Anyway.
Bruce is right. Yeah.
We're not done here. Like, this is the tailgate wars of how you know,
how many ways can you get your
versions-
tailgate to do things? And
Exactly.
I mean, how many things do you need your tailgate to do? I mean, I guess it's kind of neat to have it open up in the middle where you can reach inside. I've never had much of a problem opening a tailgate the regular way, and I'm a short guy, and I still,
Not
don't have
all of
much
us
of an
are
issue.
short guys.
But
You and I
I
are
mean,
short guys, Smith.
I mean,
You
there's
and I
I
are
mean,
short
there's
guys.
there's good
Seth
functionality.
is not a short guy.
Well, I would say I don't think it's going to end the tailgate wars, but I also am not down on it at all. I actually think that like all of the I've had a bunch of GM pickup trucks as testers over the last year. Basically, I think that the variants of the multi-pro tailgate are actually really useful when I'm using it, when I'm getting up in stuff into and out of the bed. Having that like folding step, and again, like this is all obviously the companies that build trucks are constantly updating their ability to be able to use the bed in more and better and functional ways, right? So the tailgate being a big part of that, it's obviously something that's sort of sexy in this space too. So without trying it and looking at it with that kind of swing out style with the 3 detents, I actually think it could be really useful to grab stuff out of there, just like they're talking about. My point that I was making you guys in the chat is a little bit more, not really esoteric, but like I've never completely understood the people who want to own a pickup truck but don't want to use the bed or feel like the bed is kind of an encumbrance to use. Maybe that is too esoteric, and people just are going to own trucks anyways. So we're trying to work around the sort of embedded problem, if you'll allow me, of having a pickup truck bed. But in terms of solutions for how people are using it, this actually looks very promising. So I'm bullish, at least on trying it, on having checked it out. So
yeah, I mean, I was at a Ford event late last week, picking a preview of the F-150. One of the ways in which they presented the Pro Access tailgate was, okay, you have your truck, you have a hard tonneau cover over the top, you have a bed divider there in the back. With this little swing open door in the middle, you now essentially have a small trunk. And by small, I mean you're using just a portion of your 5.5 or 6.5 foot bed, which is huge. But you basically have a decent trunk that you can easily access without opening up the tonneau cover, without bringing down the whole tailgate. So I mean, there's to your point, Seth, that does actually give people a way to use the bed without using a pickup bed, if you follow what I'm saying there.
Sure. Well, they don't have to
So,
scramble in and out or reach in. Yeah.
Yep.
I'm going to push it against you for just a second here. Obviously, you
Mhm.
have kids. You actually have 2 kids, which is kind of perfect for the argument that I'm making, and that those kids have to fit in the back seats of a pickup truck. And so you can put groceries, everyone has to go get groceries, whether it's once a week or every other week or whatever. In a pickup truck, you either put them against for lack of a better word, I don't know what you call it, the firewall right up against the cab, or you put them right up against the tailgate, because just the wind and everything is going to whip everything around and stuff like that. And it seems like this might be a solution to prevent that, maybe possibly that you could, if you're that person that has a couple of children, that, maybe this tailgate setup fixes that.
Sure. I think it has the possibility. I mean, the one argument that I would have there is you're still not going to put, at least I'm unlikely to put most open bags of groceries in an open tailgate without anything else to secure the top of them, because they'll spill over. Unless you have the entire thing full. You need a cargo divider, but that's not even really my point. My point is just, I've never totally understood, like that's a kind of compromise you make when you buy a pickup truck, full stop, right? And lots of people are okay with that for lots of different reasons, or they have different solutions. But what seems to be the conversation all the time is how to make it easier to use the tailgate when you're sort of fighting against the inherent confines of it, which also provided a lot of utility. But what we really need to do, honestly, to answer this question is to be able to drive this thing and test it, and then come back and tell you guys in real time, like, what we think about it. Can we talk about, you guys, Gus asked a question that I think that we have the answer to. Smith, you called this out right away, and I think it's in our story on motor1.com, but why don't you take it over?
Yep, thanks for bringing that up. I was going to bring this up because Gus Navarro asks, they just talked about 2 power plants. And yes, we do have full information. The powertrains are carryover for 2024 with one exception. The 3.3 liter V6, which was the standard engine, has now been dropped from the F-150 lineup. So the standard engine is now the 2.7 liter EcoBoost, making 325 horsepower, 400 pound-feet of torque. That's the only change in the powertrain lineup for the F-150.
Not completely true. We also know that the powertrain, I mean, you could call it carryover, but we know the Raptor R is still going to have the 5.2 supercharged V8, but it's not entirely carryover because we know it's got at least one more horsepower.
Yes.
you beat me to the punch, Seth. I was about to say, for the regular F-150 lineup, they saved that nugget for last. And as we were going through our stats when we received press announcements, they listed everything, and they had power ratings, and then there was Raptor R with 0 power ratings. Of course, the Raptor R launched with 700 horsepower. And Seth, I remember speaking to our former managing editor, Brandon Turkis, when the Raptor R debuted, 700 horsepower. Of course, Ram TRX has 702. And we know how Detroit loves to just kind of jump into the whole scene of bragging rights when it comes to specs and numbers. And Brandon and I were both just kind of like, 2 horsepower. Why stop there when it's a derivative of an engine that we know makes a lot more? And I remember Brandon saying something like, the Ford PR people are just kind of banging their heads right now. I mean, it's a nonsensical point because 700 horsepower in the Raptor R is amazing and awesome. And when you go from that to a TRX, they're both just crazy off-roaders. But it's interesting to hear that Ford is now doing something where it's going to be more than 700, whether it's 701, 702, 703. But yes, that will be something that we'll learn about later.
Yeah, listen, Raptor R and TRX is fun it's fun to have them fight, right? It's fun to have that battle. I think, like, to your point, Chris, like, it's not even just Detroit, like, and it's certainly not tailgates. Like, we see this all the time with truck makers. We've seen it for as long as I've been alive, certainly as long as I've been paying attention to the automotive industry. Everybody wants the biggest tow rating. Everybody wants the biggest payload figure. Everybody wants more horsepower, more torque out of their powertrains. Pretty soon, we're seeing in the chat and responding to the fact that, Ford's hybrid with the Pro Power on board, like that onboard power system has stayed steady at 2.4 kilowatts or 7.2 kilowatts. At some point, that's going to be an issue, right? Like, as we get into more electrification than fully electric trucks, battery size, acceleration numbers, range, things like that. The people who are making trucks love to fight about it, and the people who are buying trucks love to brag that what they have is better. Even to your point about TRX and Raptor R, when it's pretty much meaningless. The meaningful stat there is, in my mind, and I've driven both of them, is that Raptor R is a lot lighter, right? So it has 2 less horsepower now. Maybe it has. I think a commenter just said, wouldn't be surprised if they up the power to 705 or 710 or something like that. Almost completely irrelevant for the drivability and the performance of the truck. What matters more is that it weighs a lot less, right?
For sure. So yeah, those are the powertrain changes that we know about. That's coming here for 2024. Guys, what do you think about some of the changes here on the Tremor? Because I was a little surprised when Ford singled out the Tremor specifically here for a small segment, because we've got of course we've got the updated look, and I think it looks pretty darn good with that grille. I really like just the whole squaring off of the front end here on all of the models, but it looks especially good on the Tremor. And then they have that modular front bumper, which Ford actually told me is shared with the Raptor, but those little end pieces are different between the Tremor and the Raptor. I mean, what's your take here on the Tremor?
Oh, real quick, I was going to ask here. Eric Hansen asked, "Will adaptive cruise control be available on the XLT?" Smith, you were at the backgrounder and in the press release, and you wrote the story, stuff like that. Did you get any information about that?
I mean, not adaptive cruise specifically, but are you talking about adaptive cruise or Ford's new Blue Cruise? Because I believe adaptive cruise is already there.
Okay.
Ford has their new Blue Cruise system 1.2, I think they're calling it. That's going to be available on F-150. They didn't specify trims yet specifically, but the updates to Blue Cruise will include just better lane keep assist ability and hands-free lane changing. So
okay, well, Gus Navarro is saying that XLT already has adaptive cruise, so there you go.
Well, and just to, not that I don't think Gus knows what he's talking about, he seems very well informed, but of course we've got to dig into, you guys, we have the information as we've talked about that's on motorone.com, and we've have the initial information that Ford released. We also now know and are seeing that the configurator site is up on Ford.com, right? So like part of this process for us is digging into that so that we can get the full specifications and answers to these trim level packages that they wouldn't necessarily provide right off the bat. They're trying to tell a story with this truck, right? They want to talk about the things that are cool, the things that are really impressive for them, the tailgate, and then Smith, getting back to your point about the Tremor, I can't let this one drop because and this is going to be very shocking for both of you, but I disagree with you fundamentally, and I think that you're entirely wrong. And I'm surprised that your eyes are
never
working.
Disagree. What? We never disagree.
What's going on?
I think the Tremor. I mean, I think that the sorry, what's the name of the new front bumper that's got the integrated winch?
It's a modular front bumper. It's an optional modular front bumper that is designed to take accessories from Ford Performance.
That I think is super cool. I think the ability to have that baked in, especially for a package like Tremor, is really awesome and very clever, because that's something that people are doing anyways. You don't have to go to the aftermarket necessarily to get an accessory that you really want to use. In terms of the grille and the overall look, I think it looks ghastly. I mean, I need to see it again, and certainly need to see it in person. But I think, are you kidding? I think the Tremor just looks horrible with that grille. I mean, I'm sort of shocked at that.
Bad take, man.
Dude, no, it is rough. The other ones are kind of easy, like to deal with. They don't seem like a crazy update, but the Tremor grille looks bananas to me. What do you guys? I mean, we need to ask the people who are still watching too, which group here they think are crazy. But Bruce, you can tell me I'm wrong and settle the argument.
I think you're wrong, but I'm trying. Oh, yeah.
Come on. There's so much. Maybe it's just the.
Okay, here. Let me put it this way: it's not the best of the bunch, but it's not. It's bad. Yeah, I see what you're saying.
No, it's not bad. It's the orange that kind of catches you. I think it looks better in person than it does in the photos. It has that kind of weird, very large mesh pattern happening back there. And I know there will always be people that it's just like, orange, do you really need that kind of contrast? But I mean, it's like the Raptor Light, right? It's the off-road truck. If you don't get a Raptor, it's got to look a little bit different from the rest, I think. And with that setup, it certainly looks, with that grille, with that bumper, I mean, I think it's gonna. I think it'll get the buyers. I think it'll get people. It'll get people interested.
Let's hope I'm wrong. I mean, I'm happy if people are happy to buy the truck, but yeah, this would not be my first choice, and the grille would probably turn me off, even though I think the Tremor is a great overall package. David D is asking about the engine spec for the Tremor. So we were just talking about engine lineup a little bit. Again, I'm just on the configurator right now, and it seems to say right now that the engines offered are the 5-liter V8 and the 3.5-liter hybrid, right? So maybe no base engine, no 2.7-liter EcoBoost on the Tremor pack is what my very initial research is seeming to say right now. Because Ford didn't mention that. Ford did not go through a full powertrain walk on all of the trims.
No.
Right. I'm looking up at the configurator right now because, yeah, they didn't spell everything out other than to say the 2.7 is now the base engine. So let me actually just do a quick check through here. So the XL, well, that's interesting. It's showing the 5-liter V8 as being on the XL. Interesting. Ford's configurator for 2024 looks like it just went live. So I want to stress there might be some bugs in it because it's showing only one engine on the XL at this time.
So I'm going to ask Jay Walker this question, and I put it up right now. Jay Walker says, I'm a bit disappointed that the grille has become more Maverick-y. And I wonder why, because to me, the Maverick has a pretty good front end. Do you not like the idea that, you know, the higher tier F-150 has a similar nose as the Maverick? Like, I don't know. Like, I don't necessarily see that. So I'm wondering why you have that opinion.
I'm not. See, when I look at that head-on view, just my take, I see like a 1980s F-150, like especially on that XL with the STX package. I see like a 1980s F-150 with just that big straight grille going all the way across, with just the nice even slots in there. I don't know. I'm not really getting a Maverick-y flavor.
Kind of the same. That's why I wanted to ask about that. Yeah.
So just as a little update here, I'm spending a little bit more time in Ford's configurator.
Oh, there we go.
I am seeing the 2.7
Jay
liter
has a
EcoBoost.
response. It's the softness and the rounded rectangle corners. I like harder edges. Yeah, that's a personal preference thing, though. That you know, some people prefer a softer shape, some people prefer a harder shape. It's not. You know, aesthetics are always so much subjective that you can't say one is better than the other. And, you know, some designs are going to appeal to a group of people and some designs are going to appeal to another group of people. So, yeah.
So for their part, though, you guys, Ford is calling this, and this is the overall design language, right? The wider grill. They're calling it the coast-to-coast grill.
Coast to coast,
I'm not sure if this applies entirely to Maverick too. So we're gonna try to just to let everybody know, like, we will answer the questions that we have the absolute answers to, like in the research that we've done and based on what we've heard on Ford too. We're looking at the configurator, and I think Chris was sort of hinting at this too. We're not entirely sure because this is brand new. It seems like maybe there's some information that's not 100% reliable too. So I just don't want to be live on air repeating something that might be wrong before we know it to be the truth.
Yes.
So we're gonna dial back on a little bit on that too. But yeah, visually, I think overall, here's my point of view is that with the exception of Tremor, I think the stylistic update overall here is very minor. I think what they're doing is trying to keep things fresh, trying to make people recognize that they have a new truck, and get people excited. We talked a little bit about there being a new color for the Raptor lineup. We're obviously seeing a lot of new graphic elements in terms of the headlight structures and the taillight structures and things like that. So people will be able to recognize that it's new, but this is much more kind of an evolutionary step than a revolutionary step in terms of the overall design. Right?
Oh, for sure. And I mean, we notice inside, I mean, aside from the standard issue digital gauges for the driver and that center, they're both 12-inch all across the board. I mean, there are no style changes inside. I mean, you're going to find some different things, I think, with just some colors and some trim pieces. But inside, it's a little surprising to not really see anything. Although that the head-up display in the F-150, that seems like it could be a pretty big hit. And it's one of those things where, okay, why didn't we have that sooner?
Yeah, I don't know. Like, Bruce, you mentioned this when we were kind of chatting behind the scenes and we were watching it. Head-up display is nothing new, right? It's not a new feature in most vehicles. We're talking about trucks that, for the most part, you guys, and again, we don't have full pricing of these. We're going to be doing a lot more digging into this to get that onto the site probably tomorrow. But generally speaking, trucks are way more expensive than they've ever been before, and they're more laden with features than they ever been before. So to me, having a head-up display seems like a very natural evolution, something that they probably felt like was pretty easy to add in the overall scale of this update that they were doing. I've always thought that they are a meaningful quality of life adjustment when they're done well and they're easily visible, especially if you're adding like a large enough display that you can see it from many angles and multiple colors and lots of different ways to configure it. And generally speaking, Ford has been pretty good about that, the configurability of their technology. So I think it's probably going to be something that actually, like on a day-to-day, minute-to-minute level, driving your truck, if you have that as an option, it might be more impactful than a lot of other stuff that we've heard about today, because it makes a big difference. So,
for sure. Yeah, gentlemen, we've been running here for about an hour and a half now. Listeners out there, shoot us some more questions here. We've got some more time that we can chat. If you want to know more about what we have going on here, as Seth just said, we are going to be pumping out some more articles. Go to motor1.com and see those. In fact, I'm going to be probably writing one up as soon as we finish this live stream. So you'll definitely want to check in motor1.com for more information on the 2024 F-150. And it's also worth mentioning too, Ford is debuting this in person at the 2023 North American International Auto Show, which kicks off to the public, I think, Friday or Saturday?
Thursday or Friday?
Is it Thursday?
The public show, I think, is Friday.
Friday.
The media preview, or what we used to call the media preview, opens up tomorrow. I have to double check that, but I'm pretty sure. I mean, historically, it would open the Friday after the media preview. So. So yeah, if you're in Metro Detroit or Southeast Michigan or Northeast Ohio, it'd be a place, a great destination. It's always fun. If you're interested in the truck, the auto show is still a great place to go through, be able to go and look and feel and touch and ask a lot of questions and all that. Let me ask you guys quickly, because another thing that I heard, that's going to be new. I'm just curious your point of view on this in terms of like overall impact and whether or not you would care. Is the Ford stolen vehicle services, right? So we're talking about an app-based system to basically tell you if somebody's trying to break into your truck or if they've stolen it before.
Right.
Now, I need to go back and check my math on this, because I'm pretty sure that this is something that Ford has offered a version of, probably a much more rudimentary version of, to fleet operators for HD trucks and maybe standard F-150s as well. But is this something that you think that you would want? Like, is this a kind of peace of mind that people just want this day and age, where we've got ring cams and, like baby cams in our baby rooms, cameras everywhere, and just lots of information? Or is it not meaningful to you?
It's a good question, and it's something that I actually talked about during the media event, because they were talking about the system, how it goes through the Ford app. It alerts you if it thinks there's anything nefarious going on, and it can do all of this and then alert authorities, Ford says, in about 30 seconds, which if somebody is trying to break in and steal your vehicle. I mean, we've seen thieves get in. I mean, there's a reason gone in 60 seconds is a thing, right?
Sure. Yeah.
I think it would give me a little peace of mind. Sure. I mean, especially in an age where catalytic converter thefts are a thing. If it detects somebody around the vehicle or trying to mess with the vehicle in any way, it can certainly give you a heads up. I asked specifically, does this have a capability of doing any sort of just a voice prompt? Because how many times have we seen like the Ring videos on YouTube where somebody's at a door, they're trying to break in, and somebody sees it and they just say, "Hey, get away," and they run away. I mean, that's a huge deterrent right there. I asked if Ford had considered that, and they said, things that they had talked about. Obviously, they don't have it implemented for this, but I think just having that alert would give me a little peace of mind. It would be nice if there is something that could react to. I mean, if the system detects somebody is messing with your truck, somebody that shouldn't be there, some sort of reaction that could signal the person, Okay, somebody knows I'm doing something. Time to go. You know, that would give me more peace of mind. But getting the alert would at least be something. As long as I'm not getting the alert every 20 minutes if it's windy outside and I'm parked outside.
Yeah, we want it to work. That's for sure. Yeah.
And Smith, I'm gonna talk about that. It's that it depends, and I know that's the crappiest answer in the world because everything depends on something. But I both live in a kind of suburban area, and I also have a house in a rural area, and I have a lot of security cameras in both of those places. And so I don't know that, like, if you have already defeated all of my security cameras, and this is just for me, a personal thing, like, I don't know what that means. Like, because you've had to go through a lot of stuff in order to get to one of my cars. And yeah, so I think for the average person, it's useful. You park your car on the road, you see that your car starts to move. Oh, I need to alert the authority, sure. Or if you're someone like me, I don't know that I need that service because I already have kind of a version of that service from different providers, and it just varies from person to person, so, and from location to location, really.
Can I just get a notification if a bear is trying to break in? Because I'll then go down with my video camera, get it on camera, use dad voice, get out, get malls.
I mean, I can do that right now. It's not, it's deer, not bears, but yes, I can do that.
Let me address this question really quick because this is a good question. Gary, I'm not going to try to pronounce your last name, but thank you for tuning in. Thank you for the question. Did they discontinue the King Ranch? Ford didn't really talk about their entire trim lineup, but the answer there is no. The Limited has been replaced by a new trim called the Platinum Plus, but the King Ranch is still there.
Yeah, we're seeing King Ranch on the configurator site. And quickly, let me just hit it because I think Gus called me out and I was just reading it wrong when we were talking about engine options on the Tremor. He is right. I was either looking at the wrong page or reading the wrong thing. But currently, we're seeing the 5-liter V8 and the 3.5-liter EcoBoost and not the hybrid. That was my mistake, Gus.
Well,
so I apologize.
And let's stress again, the configurator for the 2024 Ford F-150 just went live. Like probably somebody at Ford HQ flipped a switch while the presentation was happening. And we occasionally, from time to time, see errors in configurators as soon as they go live. I'm not saying there are errors here, but just keep in mind that this is all very fresh. We are looking at it. We're going to have more information over at motor1.com on pricing and all kinds of other stuff, because I see they even have some prices listed up here as well.
Cool. Should we hit any more of these guys before we call it a night and move on to all the other F-150 stuff content that we have to do in advance of the auto show tomorrow?
Well, I appreciate everybody tuning in, hitting us with your questions. If you have any more, speak now. Otherwise, go over to motor1.com. And we have more content coming out. We have our big debut post there right now with something like 100 photos for you to check out. Lots of information. I think maybe just a little bit more than what you got in the live stream, because we did have press releases and some good details ahead of time. So you'll definitely want to go over there, check us out. And gentlemen, any other last thoughts here on the new F-150? Seth? Definitely an evolutionary step, but this is a hugely competitive segment. Even though Ford has been in front for so many years, I feel like Ford. I mean, you have to keep moving the bar forward regularly, or at least trying to move the bar somewhere if you want to stay in front, right?
Yeah, I mean, listen. Overall, I'm excited. I've always liked F-150. I don't know that. Sometimes we get so caught up, and I know, Ford led with, as they love to do, that F-150, they were comparing it to Netflix, and they were saying that F-150 is an enterprise unto itself, something like $41 billion. I have a note here from again, I don't want to get it wrong. I think it was from last year, $41 billion of sales or revenue. I'm not exactly sure from F-150 last year. The point is, it's a large, lots of people buy it, creates, a ton of wealth essentially. I think it's always been very, Ford, GM, Chevy, GMC, and Ram have always had products that are within inches of one another. And so much of it depends on exactly what you like in your truck, exactly how you want it configured, what your local dealer has in stock, and what you're able to buy, the price point that you're negotiating, things like that. That's not to throw this under the bus, but for me, you guys, it's always I want to get in. I really want to play with the tailgate. I'd like to drive the updated version of the Raptor R, even if it only has 5 more horsepower. You know what I mean? I want to see, feel, and experience some of this stuff so that we can bring back, more kind of honest reporting about it. But I'm excited. I think this is, like so many other internal combustion engines, vehicles right now. We are in this kind of halo period as we're transitioning over to electric vehicles. And much as I like Lightning, and I really do like Lightning a lot, I think these will be fantastic trucks that kind of have amazing capability compared to something that we were even used to 5 or 10 years ago. So that'll be fun to test and figure out more about as time goes on.
Absolutely. Well, thank you much, Seth Mearsma, editor-in-chief, Motor1.com, for joining us on this live stream. Chris Bruce, writer, co-host, Rambling About Cars, thank you for joining us on this live stream. All the listeners out there, your Motor One extended family, we love you. We appreciate you joining us for this special event. 2024 Ford F-150 is here. Go to Motor1.com to read all about it. And until the next debut, we will see you soon. Bye-bye.
Bye, guys.
Bye-bye.